Okay, so this piece of equipment is called a takadai, which means high stand, and it can be done, make braids with two levels, which is what I'm doing here. This is called a pickup braid, or ayagaki in Japanese. So you can see that there are two levels of threads here. There's a top level and a bottom level, and the pattern that I'm making, which you can see right here, is done by different types of weaving moves through the threads between sometimes the top and the bottom layer, and also exchanging threads between the rails. So I'm going to demonstrate a row of it so you can see what that is. So I'm going to be doing row 29, if you can see that on there. And you see in parentheses it says 13, 14, 15. And then the next is an R and then L3, and I'll explain that as I go along. So the 13, 14, 15 means that we're going to switch those threads for the between rails. So we're going to count 4, 8, 12, 4, 8, 12. This is 13, 14, 15, and we're going to switch the threads between the top and the bottom rails. So I'm going to pick up, this is 13, move it to the bottom rail, pick up the other thread in my finger, drop this thread, and then switch this for the top rail. So that's 13, this is 14, pick up the top thread, switch it with the bottom, and 15, pick the thread up, switch it with the bottom thread, and place this up. So now 13, 14, and 15 have been switched to give it a quick hit to set the threads. Now the weave code is RL3. R stands for reverse. L3, as in Japanese, would be shita 3, or 3 passes through the lower layer, and then it's going to be 1 on the top. So this is an over under 2 type of structure. We're going to start on the bottom at lift 2, press 2, lift 2, press 2, lift 2. So we've lifted 3 times, and now we go to the top rail, and we're going to bring 1 down from the top rail here, and it's going to go in between the first thread of the bottom rail, and that will twist it and create a link that will seal the 2 edges together. So now I'm going to pick up this thread, which is attached to a weighted bobbin called a tama, and we swing this through the space that was just made, and it goes over here to the bottom rail, and then we beat the thread to set it in. Now that was the bottom rail move. Now when you do the top rail, you switch the move from an L3 to a U3, which means upper 3 or ue 3. And it's the exact mirror of what we did on the bottom, and what that will do is create the pattern that's on the bottom will be now mirror imaged on the top. So we did 3 lowers and 1 upper. Now we're going to do 3 uppers and 1 lower. So starting here, we press, 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 then go to the bottom layer and press 1. And we just threw from the bottom rail. Now we're going to throw from the top rail. So we pick up the first thread from the top rail. It goes through the space, and then it gets placed on the top rail over here. The threads are beaten. Now the next row is row 29 right there. You can see it says 5, 7, 9, 10, 13. That means all those threads are going to get switched. This is the weave code over here, a reverse. LUULS means switch. So anyways, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but that gives you some idea of how this works. And again, looking at this graph, you can see that every row is different, and each row produces a different part of the pattern in that graph that you see there. This pattern's 120 rows long, and so have a little ways to go. Hope you enjoy that.